Hi, everybody. Bob Schwartz here. And this is another one of our series of we're interviewing the people who are doing our pre and post cons so that you can learn a little bit more and make a decision. Today, I'm really pleased to be with Jdith Swack, the founder of HBLU. And we're going to be talking about her post-conference seminar called the HBLU approach for eliminating hidden patterns of suffering. So that's sort of, I guess, begs the first question is, I was going to ask you is, well, what is the main challenge for practitioners that you're going to be addressing? And I guess it's the
hidden patterns
that are
right. So I noticed as I was doing, energy psychology work with people and NLP, in fact, that some people would clear up, their symptoms would clear, their phobias would clear, their allergies and asthmas would clear, their physical injuries, the pain would clear. Some people, it didn't work. Some people, it worked and then they reverted. So I thought, what did I miss? What did I miss? Now, tapping works for 80% of everything, but then there's areas where it doesn't work. So I'm a what did I miss kind of girl. And I went into research mode because, I have that insatiable scientific curiosity. Mm-hmm. And I would ask 1,000 questions. I would just let whatever came off my mouth, whatever came through my head, I would just blurt it out like brainstorming. And I'd ask the most absurd questions, like crazy stuff would come out of my mouth, and I'd muscle test. And sometimes I'd get a yes, it's a that. And then I'd go, what? What is that? I was kidding. I thought I was kidding. No, it's a that, really? So that's how I found these hidden patterns. And I'm like, well, what do I do with that? So I develop a protocol, ask 100 questions, work with the client. Voila, I'd find something. So for example, in energy psychology, we use muscle testing to connect the conscious mind with the deepest wisdom of the soul. And in healing from the body level up, the soul leads the healing. So the body is a lie detector machine. It answers true and false questions. And the conscious mind's job is to be Sherlock Holmes, right? And I'm Watson, Holmes and Watson. This is HBLU Mystery Theater. And we send questions into the body to find and talk to the soul using the body as the readout machine to find out what's going on. Well, what happens if the soul isn't in the body? Then who are you talking to?
Nobody.
Exactly. Then you get all kinds of gobbledygook for answers, and where are you going to go with that? So I started asking, from your deepest wisdom, does your consciousness currently reside 100% within your physical body? Yes or no? And about 20% of the time, it was no. Then I'm like, why not? What happened there? So it turns out there are two reasons. Take my training, you'll find out. Two reasons why the soul wasn't fully in. And it was the priority to get it back in properly.
Right. Because
if your soul isn't in your body, then you can't get answers that are accurate, right? Then I had a client come in who I'd healed her of allergies 8 years prior, allergies and asthma, no symptoms, really happy. She comes back 8 years later and says, oh no, the allergies and asthma are back. I'm thinking, how is that possible? Okay, I treat her again. This time it doesn't work. What's that? So I dig around and dig around and dig around, and it turns out that the reason that we couldn't clear it is that they were not her allergies or asthma. It didn't belong to her body. It turns out it was her son's allergy and asthma, and she had internalized her son's symptoms. So instead of trying to treat her for allergies and asthma, what we had to do was we had to clear his stuff out of her, and then her symptoms went away. But you have to think to ask.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the main points for people, if they find this appealing, some will, some won't, but that you have why reinvent the wheel? You have done a lot of exploring, and you've already identified a number of hidden patterns that are, relative, for situations that clearly, obviously the stuff that clears, but in the population where things are going rough, here's some things that you can quickly check, and that you provide this map of for people to learn, and then they can find out for themselves and see how well it works for themselves or for their.
Well, exactly. I give a handout that is an intake form that actually lists these patterns.
Mhm.
And I call it a system check. So when a client comes in to see me, not only do I check that they're muscle testing accurately, yes and no, but I do the system checking questions. Is your soul in the body? Are you carrying other people's illnesses? I ask those questions. And so you will get that form. You'll be able to ask those questions. And then you will get protocols for treating it.
Right. Yeah.
So that, in the end, the soul's back in the body, whose symptoms belong to whose body and don't. Right. And you will have some insight into why what you're doing isn't working, and then be able to ask a bunch of questions to find out what it is.
Right. So you've sort of my next question would have been, but we sort of answered it. What are the top 3 things that people are going to walk away with? And you've sort of answered that. They're going to learn all these things that you just said. But for the people that are coming to the in-person conference, I want to make sure, because you're going to, do they need to know muscle testing, or you're going to run?
I would prefer that they be familiar with muscle testing.
Familiar. They shouldn't be completely like, I never heard.
Well, a lot of people come in and don't trust muscle testing because there are hidden patterns that they don't know about. So I will review muscle testing accuracy and show you when the person does this and you don't understand what it means, it's this. So I will go through all the variations of muscle testing and tell you what the client is showing you when they do this and this and this that you didn't realize, so that then you can treat that so they can muscle test accurately. So I'll teach you accurate muscle testing, but you at least need to know about how you press on somebody's arm and get a yes or no, or how you use fingers or what. And then I'm going to dissect that in detail and show you all the nuances.
Yeah. So if somebody says, well, I learned it, but I didn't like it for X, Y, and Z reason. I didn't think it was accurate for X, Y, and Z reason. Or that might be a really good person. If they didn't know anything about it, this is going to be a little bit above their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want somebody to be familiar with it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've had problems with it, but you need to know that we use the body as the readout machine, and when you get this, it means this. When you get that, I'll teach you that.
Right.
Because muscle testing is always accurate. It's always accurate if you know what you're seeing. So people muscle test all kinds of ways, and you can be confused, but I'm going to dissect that so you will never be confused again when you see somebody do something funny on muscle testing.
Okay, cool.
And I'll give you the right questions to ask, because you can't find it if you don't have the questions.
Well, that's true. I've over the years, it's like if you can get like, I've done things like, for instance, it's safe for me to lose 25 pounds, let's just say, and someone says, comes back, yes. And then you say, it's safe for me to be a size figure, whatever, it is.
Or
8, right? Yeah. And it's no, but if they lost 25 pounds, that's exactly the size they would have been. Now, these are not equivalent statements, actually. So there's a whole art form for the kinds of questions you ask, and that's just one example. Like, so you get, wait, those things, they don't add up.
Well, check this out. I have somebody who's going to have a shoulder replacement because she had an accident and she never recovered. She has a lot of pain. She can't lift her arm. And her deepest wisdom said that the highest priority goal was to repair her shoulder. Then we asked, does this being give 100% permission to balance for this goal? No.
Right.
But from your deepest wisdom, is it the highest priority goal? Yes. Take a drink of water. She takes a drink of water. We check again. Does this being give 100% permission to balance for this goal? No. Okay, now what do you do?
Right.
I'll tell you what you do, but you have to take my class.
That's
Let
great.
me suffice to say that by the end of that session, we had permission and her shoulder was feeling hugely better already. Just saying.
Right. I think that's that's so interesting. Yeah, we can leave it at that. I've have some of my own stories like that. There's always something going on, but you have to know
What to ask.
what to ask. And the point of this training, which I think I'm pretty excited about it, because it's this idea of there are things that people just don't see. And if you
And
don't
would not think to ask. It would
right,
never occur to them to ask.
right, because once you have a map, once you begin to notice, it's like, if you buy a new Toyota, all of a sudden you see Toyotas everywhere on the road. So if you don't know, you're not queued up for it, you won't see it. People dissociate. I've never seen a DID patient in my life. Oh, yeah, you have. You just didn't know.
Right.
Probably.
Oh, that's what that was, right?
No, that's what that was. So part of this is really learning a lens, which I think is really exciting for those that are interested. Well, I think that's good. I think that gives people a sense. Is there anything else they should know about, or you think we should say? Is there?
Well, I aim to shock and amaze.
You aim to shock and amaze. Yes, that's true. Yes, you do that.
Come and be shocked and amazed.
Right. Well, there you go. So if we hope to see you in New Mexico, it's going to be an amazing. The place is amazing, and Jdith is a great teacher, and this is one of your 3 choices for a postcon. Stick around for the postcon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.